Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing? Well, I hope. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Please let me know if you have any issues hearing me. I would appreciate that. So when I was looking this up, I couldn't find, because you guys know when I discuss things, I like to look it up, right? I don't really like to quote unquote shoot from the hip too much when I'm doing set topics, but I don't mind doing so either. But when I was looking this up, I didn't find much because I don't think it's a technical term, but for the most part, we all know what that is and what it consists of. So, anywho, this is webisode 2 of our The Plight of series. Webisode 1, we focused on, I always forget. We focused on, passive aggressive women. We focused on the plight of a passive aggressive woman, right? So for episode 2, because I've been thinking about this, for episode 2, I want to focus on quote unquote Mad Day. Do you guys know what Mad Day is? Mad Day, when it comes, and sometimes folks don't always see it coming. So hold on. Hopefully StreamYard doesn't kick me out because I'm going to go and read what I put in the description to you guys. Hold on. StreamYard kicked me out, just like I knew it was going to do. I was in the middle of reading our description, even though you guys have eyeballs, but let's try this again. Sorry. That fudge. So it says Mad Day, the time when a close friend, family member, significant other, or associate retaliates on you because of an unsettled disagreement that you two have, usually in the form of outright rage, sneak disses, or the sharing of secrets. One person thinks the issue was resolved a while ago, while the other person isn't over it. Mad Day is very sudden and unexpected to the victim. So hopefully you guys were able to hear that all right. That's what I want to discuss. Like I said, I don't have anything to read off of because there wasn't much to find on that, or I just didn't simply look hard enough. But from what I seen, it wasn't too much really touching on that. But I want to touch on it. And I'm not quite sure if anybody else, any other content creators, have touched on it, whether that be lightly or just actually have the discussion. But I do know we all know what that is. And for those who wasn't sure, you know, what Mad Day is, I just read it off to you. What that means. And depending on the situation and the parties involved, Mad Day is really, it can be really wild work, be wild, wicked work, or it can just be simple arguments because somebody is mad. You know what I mean? To me, there's levels to it, but it's definitely not good. It's definitely not good, even if it quote unquote feels good in the moment, even if you feel like you are valid because you are mad or because you felt like you were betrayed or wrong, dude. Wrong, dude, that's not even a word, but you felt like you were done wrong, those type of things. I wasn't going to go live this morning because I thought the sniper was going to go live earlier. But since he pushed his time back and I have time, I said, what the who? Because we are in the middle of a series. So I don't want to let that fall by the wayside if I don't have to, which I never have to. I don't know what all folks have going on. I didn't share this live out so folks can know that I'm live. But maybe because I'm doing a set topic, I'll feel froggy and just share it out. Because I'm not going to be up here long. Hold on. All right. I think you can hear me. Cool beans. So I shared it out. We'll see. I've seen, I don't know about you all, but I've seen Mad Day come in all sort of quote unquote different shapes and sizes and levels. Like I said, to something as simple as, okay, these two people or these group of people, they arguing to, okay, this person is telling all this other person's business. This is wild. This is crazy. We don't need to know this. To this person has a whole lot of stuff going on. They have a history of some things. And this other person, all of a suddenly, as far as what it seems to be when you're outside looking in, when Mad Day events happen, this person all of a suddenly is coming out the woodwork and having all types of strong feelings and emotions towards and against this other person who they were once cool with, you know? And in some cases, it can come off like the person who is the on the shelling out end, so to say, of the Mad Day events. Sometimes it can come off like they are just being so righteous, like they're so righteous, they have so much morals and whatnot. They just feel so strongly about and against whatever or whoever they are discussing. But in reality, in some cases, none of those things can be true. They are just simply mad or angry or upset or hurt by the person they are verbalizing all these feelings towards are about. Hold on. And not to say that they are not, and this is anybody who engages in mad day activities, as far as the ones shelling it out, right? Me, you, whoever. Um, and it's not that their feelings are not valid, their points are not valid. It's not even about if what they say or express is false or not the truth. Hey, Riaz, that's not the point. The point is what you're saying necessary? Is it warranted? Is it really called for? And more importantly, why did you wait until you were mad, upset, hurt, whatever, to express those strong thoughts, opinions, statements, in some cases, facts that mom was the word on it before? Or even if you did speak on it or give your opinions, you did it lightly. You know what I mean? That is the complete difference between mad day and somebody that just keeps it a bean all around the board, regardless if they're mad or not. You said I'm doing well, fam. Cool beans, Riaz. I'm glad you're doing well. I want to say it's good. It's afternoon for you, right? Whether that's early or late afternoon. I want to say it's good afternoon. So good afternoon, Riaz. Riaz, are you familiar with Mad Day? So anyway, and that's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing. Mad Day is an interesting thing to be on the receiving ends of it, to be the one shelling it out, or to just simply be a bystander, a simple witness to said Mad Day events. It's very interesting, in my opinion. Hold on. And the plight of that is interesting to me as well. So let's start with the person who is shelling out, who is doing the shelling out on Mad Day, right? Or in some cases, Mad Days, because it goes on further than just one day, but there's one particular or multiple particular events that kind of set it off for a Mad Day to come, regardless if it was just that one day somebody got their stuff off and kept it moving, or they dragged it, whatever. So the plight of that is an interesting one to me. And I guess we can start with, like I said, the person or the people who are doing the shelling out, right? To the quote unquote victim. Or the person, let's not say victim, let's just say the person who would be on the receiving end, or the people who would be on the receiving end of said Mad Day. Let's not say victim, let's just say that. So why does Mad Day come for the person? What reasons could there be for Mad Day to come for the person or the people who does the shelling out, right? Who feel a way, like I said, whether that is mad, betrayed, sad, hurt, whatever the case may be, that brought them to that point. What can be some of those reasonings? What is the why? Okay. In my opinion, and it's just my opinion, and there's nobody else here to really give their opinion. In my opinion, I feel like the why, the reasoning behind it just varies, you know? 'Cause everybody's so different. People have different ability levels. People have different morals and standards as to what they would consider to be a form of betrayal and whatnot. But let's just use some things on here that have occurred as an example, right? So let's just say there are two men, right, who are cordial on here, friendly on here, whoop-de-doo. They have a good or a decent rapport. They never really had any issues. There may have been some underlining issues amongst the two of them, but none that was ever really verbalized out loud or publicly, right? Hold on. Because like we talked about in webisode 1, even though we focus on women, men behave in that way too. There's a lot of people who are passive aggressive. So sometimes you won't necessarily know someone has an issue, like a real issue with you, even if they say little slick things or do little slick things, especially if you're not hyper focused on being vigilant to even peep it. You know what I mean? So anywho, say there's um two men, two male content creators with them. They have history, even if you don't want to call them friends, they were very cordial. They had a rapport, whoop-de-doo. There was a level of support, there. One of the men, really both the men, I'll just say interesting. Both the men are interesting in their own ways, but anyhow, one of the men, they just dirty. You know what I mean? They just dirty. They got a dirty past, whatever. These two men were still cordial, even with the man who, in this case, did the shelling out in regards to Mad Day, even though he knew about this person's dirty past and dirty ways, but he kind of threw him a bone, so to say, even if he didn't necessarily agree with his dirty ways, and even if he kind of kept him at bay to a certain extent, but didn't really keep it a full public being about where he stood with this other man. Hopefully you guys are keeping up. And we're discussing Mad Day. This is webisode 2 of the Plight Of series. And we're discussing the plight of Mad Day. Right now we're discussing the plight of the individual or individuals who do the shelling out when Mad Day comes, right? So anyway, this man never made his real thoughts and opinions and his stance in regards to this other man that he was cordial with at the time. He never made it publicly known. Not really, you know what I mean? Maybe on some passive aggressive stuff, but not really. So then fast forward, right? Even though these two people are cordial, friendly, whatever, whoop-de-doo, there's an issue. And the issue is a third party person, a third party man that the person who did the shelling out when that day came has an issue with. They have an issue. He has an issue with this third party person. This third party person has an issue with him. But the man who was on the receiving end of said Mad Day doesn't have an issue with this third party person. They are cool, right? Now, where the problem began, which led up to Mad Day, Hey, Rain, how are you doing? Well, I hope, thank you for being here, is that this person who was on the receiving end of Mad Day made it their business to not really fall back, you know? Instead of them being Switzerland and just staying out of quote unquote it completely, you know, they enabled this third party person and platformed the third party person who wouldn't have otherwise had a platform to be able to spew the things that they use their free will to spew, not only against the person who we're discussing, the man who we are discussing, who is the one who did the shelling out when Mad Day came, but other people as well. So anyway, boom, meat and potatoes. Even though these two men were cool, cordial, and even though the man who did the shelling out when Mad Day came knew everything he knew about that man, the bubble done popped on that because he felt a way. He felt a strong way about this man who was supposed to be his friend, somebody he's cordial with, whoop-de-doo, who, in his mind, which could very well be true, he considered himself to spare as far as coming at him, really keeping it a bean, calling him out. So to him, and this is just my opinions, we're just speaking, he threw this man a bone. So it's a double slap in the face because he threw you a bone because y'all was cool or whatever. And instead of appreciating the fact that he threw you a bone, you turn around and slap him in the face by allowing this third party person, your friend, his foe, by allowing him to be able to have a platform he otherwise would not have had, you know? And not only did you allow for him to have a platform, you enabled him, you got him the platform. Instead of just simply fading the back, if you feel like that's your boy, you don't got nothing to do with it, but you still want him to have his voice heard. Instead of just fading the back, this man who was on the receiving end of Mad Day made it a point to have himself be the quote unquote co-host. Hold on. So all of these factors were just wicked ingredients in a big Mad Day stew, so to say. Hopefully you guys are keeping up with me. Apologies if you're not. All of these things that I just mentioned are wicked ingredients for a huge Mad Day stew, right? Because things were definitely stewing and brewing, low and slow. So then now Mad Day comes, right? This man who was on the shelling out side end of it said, okay, even though I already knew all of these bad things about you, I chose to throw you a bone, so to say, especially when this man is known or had a history of calling folks out for things, right? I threw you a bone. I didn't call you out. I didn't make a big hubbub about it, even if I switched up how I moved with you or as far as having you around me, so to say, right? But now, since you want to do this and allow for this to happen and participate in the sorts of this happening to me in regards to me, the bubble done popped. Now I'm about to really show you something. I'm about to really show you something. I'm about to really make you regret taking whatever bit of rapport that we had for granted. You know, whatever grace I showed you for granted, whatever bone I threw you for granted, you're about to regret that. And you better hope by the time the dust settles, this same other man, this third party individual, you better hope that by the time the dust settles, that same person got your back. That same person who you was ready, willing, and able to slap me in the face for, you know, call yourself supporting at the expense of me, you better hope that that same man is going to be able to stand strong and firm and really got your back. Because I'm about to show you something. That's Mad Day. Because had that man not enabled this other man to be able to have a platform that he wouldn't have had he not made it his business to be this man's co-host and let everybody and their mama know that he is the reason as to why this other man is able to get up on here and say all of these things about people. Had he not did that, had he just simply faded the back and really been on some Switzerland stuff, Mad Day would not have had came for him from that person. You know what I mean? Meaning that person wouldn't have felt so strongly and so convicted to do all of which he did towards that person. Because if he did, he would have did it a long time ago. But why did he do it? Why did that day come? Because he was mad. Duh. That's Mad Day. Another quick example. Hold on. Hey, good morning to all the cloud dwellers. And like I said, hopefully you guys are able to keep up with me. If you're not, I apologize. Um, Another quick example of when Mad Day comes and the plight of that. We have two, say you have two women content creators, right? They had it, and these things that I'm talking about are just things that I've witnessed. These are the examples I'm using. We have two content creators who are females, right? Who had a very strong rapport. At least that's what it seemed. Um, Very strong rapport. They engaged not only on here but off of here at the time or whatever have you. Very strong rapport. One really went to bat for the other, you know, really had their back, stuck up for them, whoop-de-doo. Supported them, defended them when people would come for them because of their weight or come for them because of certain things they have, you know, displayed to the masses on here, certain behaviors, whatever. Really had their back verbally and loudly and proudly. So then fast forward, they get into a spat over a disagreement and a lack of understanding how one should move, how a woman should move towards another woman who they call themselves having a strong rapport with. Not on some, hey, how you doing, real quick in the chat, like, nah, we rock. I went to bat for you. You know what I mean? Literally. Hold on. They had a spat over a disagreement as to how a woman should move towards another woman and in regards to another woman who they call themselves having a strong rapport with, right? Especially when it comes to these men. Some women really lose their minds over men in general, let alone YouTube men. And it's crazy work how quick and how fast some women are willing, able, and ready to switch or quote unquote turn on the next woman that they call themselves having a rapport with who never did them nothing over some man. But that is a thing, both on here and in real life. Okay? So, anywho, these two women, they get into a spat, they have their disagreement, their lack of understanding, all hell breaks loose. So now, the same very women, the same two women who had a strong rapport, at least that's what it seems, had back in conversations, seemed to have supported each other, seemed to have defended each other against others, whether that's men or women. One woman more so than the other did more of that. And the way I feel about it is regardless if they were asked to or not, because that's how I feel or not. It doesn't matter if someone asked you to defend them or have their back. It's the fact that they did it and they didn't have to because they felt like you were being done wrong. So, anywho, fast forward and good morning to anybody that's just coming in. This is webisode 2 of our The Plight Of series. I am shooting at the hip. I don't have much to read from, but I do want to talk about this. We're talking about the plight of Mad Day. Mad Day it hits different for some folks, you know what I mean? And that's both the ones who are on the receiving ends of that as well as those who engage in the shelling out of the Mad Day and the Mad Day shenanigans, as well as the people who bear witness to it, you know? Good morning, Krishna. How you doing? Well, I hope. So, anywho, fast forward, all hell breaks loose. Literally, all hell breaks loose. How are you, sister? I'm doing well, thank you. I appreciate you asking me that. How are you? Well, I hope. All hell breaks loose. Okay? So then you have, at this time anyway, these two women who seem to have had such a strong rapport, who had a misunderstanding, a lack of understanding as to, like I said, a woman should be moving in regards to and towards another woman, let alone a woman who they have a strong rapport with, who has defended them on multiple occasions. Hold on. So then you have the one woman, like I said, after all hell breaks loose and there's disrespect slung back and forth towards each other. You have the one woman that says, you know what? Excuse my language, y'all. You know what? Fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. And just goes ham. Completely goes ham, completely unleashes an onslaught of you this, you that, you dirty this, you dirty that. Did you tell him about how you was willing to do this for that? All type of stuff. Saying all type of stuff, some of which is the very same, insults and disrespect that she defended this other woman against other people, the same insults that the people that she defended this woman against would hurl. That she never said about this woman before. Same way certain things that this other woman said about her, regardless if she defended it against other people or not, never said it before. You know what I mean? But when Mad Day comes, it hits different. And I think if we're going to keep it a bean, we all have engaged in some type of Mad Day activity, even if it's not to the extremes like the two examples I listed with the two men or with the two women. It can just be simple talking shit, excuse my language, Shit that you didn't pop before Mad Day hit. That you didn't have any issues or quarrels, excuse me, with popping. Now that Mad Day has arisen. Because what is the origins of Mad Day, right? Especially if you're not just a naturally messy, toxic behind person, immature behind person. If you're not a messy, toxic, immature behind person, it takes a bit for you to get to where Mad Day is even a thing for you. For some people, they don't engage in that at all, and that is a blessing and something that we should all aim for to keep it a beam. But to keep it a bigger beam, that's just simply not the case all the time, especially if you have people who are just simply out of pocket and move crazy or who are very ungrateful or disrespectful. You know, I do believe, regardless if it's right or not, that some people just simply need um, like a light reminder that they got you chopped and screwed, you know? Now, that doesn't mean to just unleash an onslaught upon them if you feel like you have been wronged. But some people really do need a nice little gentle reminder that this is not that, you know? I strongly believe that because people will get it misconstrued. And I'll keep it a full being. I've had moments where I had to give people a slight and sometimes not so slight reminder of who are you talking to? Hold on. Who are you talking to? Because you wasn't saying none of this or that when this was that. Who are you talking to? And who are you trying to prove something to? Because that's not the thing to do. Bars. Not with me. And I've been working on that because I don't have a problem with doing that. And that in itself can very well be a problem. Because, like I said, you have people who are just truly out of pocket and they simply forget who was there for them when wasn't nobody else checking for them, you know, or who was there for them when their days was really bleak. So then for me, when I have that be the case, and then there's situations that occur that make me mad, and then that same person or people who I was there for when wasn't nobody checking for them, or when days was bleak for them and I was there for them, and them same people that they want to try to put on for weren't there for them, not so much. It is a natural thing to make you want to say, huh, skirt. Number one, who you talking to? Number two, why are you so quiet about this? Number three, do I need to remind you of a few things and not really care about how you take it or how any of your friends take it? Mad Day be a mug, and it hits different. And that's why learning and knowing how to control your emotions as a grown individual is very important. Because, like I said, I think I'm just going to keep saying it throughout the summer. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Just because you can say something doesn't mean you should. And just because you can eat something, just because something is edible, doesn't mean that you should eat it. It just is what it is. And it doesn't mean that you wouldn't be valid in popping the top when Mad Day comes, especially if someone has you actually and truly messed up. But doesn't mean that you should, you know? The same way people shouldn't go around messing with folks, you know, taking advantage of folks, not appreciating folks, because that can also avoid Mad Day from happening. Hopefully you guys are able to keep up with me for this and you're able to get something out of this. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts or opinions, and have a great day. Thank you all. Thank you whoever catches the replay. Bye.